A week after Sable's surprise Nitro appearance while under WWF contract with Bischoff strongly hinting her to be the Hummer driver, Sable continued her media tour talking about the lawsuit against the company in several high-profile publications like TV Guide and USA Today, including being introduced on The Tonight Show as Sable, with McMahon's head attorney Jerry McDevitt sending a legal warning to WCW on Wednesday about featuring a still WWF contracted performer on their television, with WCW on Friday denying any negotiation going on and that Sable brought a ticket on her own. JR on his weekly website report acknowledged the situation, stirring things up with another twist, claiming that he heard rumors that Bill Goldberg might show up in the front row on Raw tonight in Memphis amid his contract dispute with WCW, saying that it's not gonna happen, but indirectly adding fuel to that fire, while putting Goldberg over, saying that they're longtime friends from Goldberg's time playing football in Atlanta, with Goldberg doing an HBO interview not acknowledging his contract issues with the company other than hinting at him being overworked and finally getting time off after dealing with knee injury for the past 8 months. WCW ran several angles in the first hour, including Nash confronting Sting about being the Hummer driver after seeing him getting out of the Hummer last week during his brawl with Rick Steiner, followed by Piper and Flair booking them to team up in the main event of the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view against Savage and Seed, while closing the hour with Master P having a birthday party to bring out Curt Hennig with a gift cowboy hat, ending the segment exactly at 9 p.m. with the first opposed quarter starting with the return to the ring of Eddie Guerrero for the first time since his car accident in January. Raw opened fast with Triple H calling out Undertaker for a match to kick off the program, bringing out McMahon and the entire corporate ministry to stop it, telling Taker and Hunter that it's what Austin and Rock would want to see them fighting each other, before cutting a promo to hype the double main event on Sunday with Rock vs Taker for the title and Austin vs the McMahons in a ladder match, bringing out Austin for the response saying that he accepts the match and adding another stipulation that if any member of the corporate ministry interferes he automatically wins the match, setting up Shawn Michaels making a surprise return to book it. With all the legal chaos going on since the Owen tragedy, Vince did several media interviews with the focus shifting back to the company being hotter than ever and continuing to catch more fire by the month, with Vince saying that the company creative reinvented itself and are now combining all aspects of show business into one product, including mentioning Ed Ferrara, who joined head writer Vince Russo a year ago to since then take wrestling television storytelling to levels never seen before, saying that it's important to get people with outside perspective with fresh viewpoints. In addition to that, Vince also went back and forth with Bischoff saying that WCW management made a call to a Nitro advertiser for putting a commercial during the broadcast that featured Steve Austin, with Bischoff responding that they placed the commercial during Nitro because they didn't want to put it during the edgy content of Raw, with Eric saying that in hindsight he made the mistake of abandoning the NWO storyline that drove the company when he did last year, but that they're on track to be back competing in a different way. Hogan, who is weeks out from recovering from his knee surgery, took shots at McMahon and the WWF product during a radio interview while indirectly without mentioning him by name took a shot at what appeared to be Goldberg, saying that there's a guy who has received the biggest push in years and is now on the verge of self-destruct. Raw's opening segment, which went over 22 minutes, continued into the second quarter with Michaels booking several matches for tonight, including the McMahons against Patterson and Brisco, Taker vs Triple H for the title and Austin vs Bossman with him as special referee, with Raw picking up over 700,000 viewers to a 6.1 rating for the conclusion of the segment, along with the Shamrock vs Jarrett match, with Nitro at the same time featuring back-to-back long matches staying in an over 2-year low 2.4 rating for the first 45 minutes of the show. After the long opening segment, Raw took 2 commercial breaks in the third quarter but still maintained a 6.1 rating, having Rock coming out to a huge ovation from the Memphis crowd for a match against Edge. As with Jerry Lawler planning to run for Mayor of Memphis later in the year, Rock, who got the biggest crowd reaction of the night, was asked by Lawler to speak on his behalf during the election campaign, which Rock later did during his August-September run. Rock cut a pre-match promo on Taker before going 4 minutes against Edge, going over with the rock bottom people's elbow combination before Taker came out to lay him out with a tombstone. After its lowest rated hour since the NWO boom period started, Nitro had its first viewership jump of the night between 9:45 to 10 p.m. for the second half of the 17-minute Booker vs. Kanyon match, picking up over 700,000 viewers to a 2.9 rating, while Raw had a Mark Henry vs. Viscera press slam match, ending up with Viscera going over and both being slammed from the top rope, along with a worked shoot angle of Chaz Beaver Cleavage doing a pre-match interview before cutting it off, saying that he's done with the gimmick and walking out of the match. With both programs having big star power segments at the top of the hour at 10 p.m., both shows unusually picked up around the same number of viewers, with each gaining between 400 to 600,000 viewers as Nitro jumped into the 3 rating range for the first time on the night, having Roddy Piper and Ric Flair coming out for a promo, with Piper again targeting the younger wrestlers, whining about their spots on the card, with Buff Bagwell being the head of that group, mocking him for thinking he should be in the main event just because he stays in the sunbed 3 hours a day, giving Flair the microphone for the response after being pinned by Bagwell the previous week, before bringing Bagwell out to start a brawl with Flair, booking an impromptu handicap match, going 10 minutes with Piper hitting Bagwell with the brass knuckles to give Flair his win back, bumping Nitro to a 3.2 rating for the promo and the match. At the same time of the Flair-Piper-Bagwell segment, Shawn Michaels came out on Raw with Steve Austin working a rare match in the middle of the show against Bossman, while bringing out the McMahons with a ladder for commentary, setting up the final hype for the control of the company winner-take-all match, with Vince taking a bump from the top of the ladder through the announcer's table, before Austin went over Bossman in a match going 7 minutes, putting the stipulation of no corporate ministry member allowed to interfere in the match Sunday, with the Austin-Bossman match jumping over 600,000 viewers to the peak quarter of the night 6.2 rating. Nitro had a commercial-heavy quarter after the Flair and Piper vs. Bagwell match and dropped back to a 2.7 rating, having the entrances of the upcoming Page and Bigelow vs. Ray and Conan tag titles match, while Raw had Val Venis calling out Albert after him and Droz attacked him a few weeks back, telling Pritchard to send him out and getting him back by tattooing him while handcuffed to the ropes, along with a DX and Kane vs. Billy Gunn and Acolytes 6-man tag match, maintaining a 6 to 2.7 rating margin. Nitro rebounded over 600,000 viewers back into the 3 rating range, with Page and Bigelow vs. Ray and Conan bumping the show to a 3.1 rating, continuing the pattern of long matches on the night, going 13 minutes to end, with Curt Hennig's group interfering for the finish and Master P appearing in a third segment on the show, while Raw had Big Show vs Bob Holly, with Holly in a pre-match promo telling him that he's the big shot and want to turn it into an hardcore match, ending up with them brawling outside the Pyramid in Memphis, with Show in a big spot pushing a car on Holly for the finish, followed by the entrances of Vince and Shane against Brisco and Patterson, with Vince, while already facing 2 major lawsuits from the Hart family and Sable, got a third much smaller one during the week from the TV reporter Vader nearly took out in Kuwait during a talked about interview back in '97, trying to capitalize on the chaotic legal situation in the WWF in recent week. After over 2 hours of hype, Seed and Sting made their entrances 10 minutes from the top of the hour, followed by Savage, going 6 minutes to end, with Sting making a comeback on Seed until Savage's interference for the DQ finish, bringing out Lex Luger for the save to close the show with a stare-down between the two teams, with the Sting vs Seed match in Seed's in-ring Nitro debut jumped over 700,000 viewers in a direct turnover from Raw, which dropped to a 5.7. to the peak quarter of the night 3.6 rating, with Nitro in a rare occurrence ending at exactly 11 p.m. without going into the usual overrun, with the show overall due to one of the lowest rated hours in years during 9 to 10 p.m., dropping to its lowest rating in over 2 years with a 3.1 overall. Raw's final quarter opened with the Vince and Shane against Patterson and Brisco tag match, going back and forth for 3 minutes before Vince bailed out after Shamrock ran in to take out Shane, followed by a commercial break and Triple H and Taker's entrances for the main event title match going up against the Sting Seed match on Nitro, which saw WCW picking up from a 3.1 to a show-high 3.6, while Raw went from a 6.1 to a 5.7 at the same time, kicking off at 10:55 p.m. with the 6-minute match crossing into the overrun. Raw's overrun, now going unopposed, saw the final minute of the Taker-Hunter match before Rock ran in to take out Taker, signaling to the top of the building to bring down a massive Brahma Bull symbol, fighting off the Ministry before handcuffing Paul Bearer and cutting the final hype promo for the King of the Ring pay-per-view, expected to be the biggest in the brand's history, with the big double main event hyped for the show, as the Rock Taker segment jumped over 1.9 million viewers to a peak 7.4 rating to close the show.